Welcome to Raw Conscious Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Tammy Cheedy. Here, I dive deep into extraordinary journeys, out-of-body experiences, near-death awakenings, encounters with the paranormal, the unseen, unexplained, and deeply spiritual. You will hear from real people sharing raw, unfiltered stories. So settle in, get ready for a conversation that might shift your consciousness. Today's guest is Nekesha Burrell. Nekesha is a near-death experiencer, spiritual guide, and the host of the podcast Becoming You with Nekesha Burrell. Her profound journey through this threshold of life and death has given her a deeper perspective on consciousness, healing, and the power of living authentically. Through her podcast, Nekesha shares wisdom on self-love, empowerment, spiritual growth, and purpose-driven living. She helps her audience break free from fear, limiting beliefs, and burnout, while guiding them towards greater alignment with their true selves. With authenticity and compassion, Nekesha inspires transformation from the inside out, reminding us that becoming who we truly are is life's most powerful journey. Welcome, Nekesha.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you so much. That was very thoughtful, that introduction.
Thank
I want
you.
to just take a moment to give gratitude to you for holding space for these sacred conversations and just being so authentic to you. And I really appreciate that. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So now, why don't we go ahead and start on the day that you had your near-death experience, and then we'll just let it flow right out from there.
Okay, we are starting off hot. Okay. Well, you know what? Just back up a little bit. I was born in Jamaica, grown up with, very Christian background. And this faith brought me through life, but I've always had these doubts, always had these doubts. How come there's so many gods? Don't understand it. How come not everybody's going to heaven? So I'm the little troublemaker who's always getting in trouble trying to figure out what's happening. I live my life quite comfortably. However, I noticed during COVID, this was a catalyst moment for me and many people, I think, because we had this opportunity, although we were forced into it in a sense, to really sit back, reflect, and we had a moment of pause where we weren't distracted by many things. And I think in that moment, I got to really find, I guess, in a sense, myself. And it
Mm-hmm.
brought me, kind of catapulting me in kind of starting to doing meditation, not knowing what it was or what it represented, but simply loving my own company. And I went
Mm-hmm.
through a phase of leaving from Jamaica to New York, which was orchestrated absolutely by spirit. And in 2021, I was in New York, just a couple of months been here,
Mm-hmm.
and I just had the whole world on my mind. I guess I was thinking about things that I didn't do, what I could do, all that usual stuff. And I went to the shower. I just, was gonna take a wash off. And in that moment when I went to the shower, I had a tickle in my throat. So it's a tickle. Clear my throat. When I went to clear my throat, there was no breath. There was absolutely no breath, and I went into a hissy fit. Like, seriously, I remember myself dragging the shower curtain down, and I was gasping for breath, trying to figure out what's happening. Now, within this moment, now I can think about it, there was basically a setup by spirit for my NDE, but I didn't know until afterwards because in that very moment, I remember about a month before coming to New York, my partner in Jamaica, who is asthmatic, was very adamant that I brought one of his asthma pumps with me, and I was very upset. Like, I don't need it. I don't know how to use it. I'm never going to need it because I'm not asthmatic. And within that moment, I remembered it. Now I know that it was my guides who set it up for within that moment for me to remember. I stretched my hands in my bag, and I remember I felt the pump and I had the next thought, but I don't know how to use it. And I'm still gasping for breath, and it must have been maybe 1 or 2 seconds, but it felt like it dragged on forever. And my phone rang within the moment, And imagine trying to catch your breath. You know you're going to die at this moment, and your phone's ringing. And in that moment, I took the phone up. And when I took the phone up, I couldn't press it because I was completely out of breath. And I think by then I was almost passing out. And I remember, I think the face recognition picked my face up because it was my first iPhone ever in my life. And when I came to New York, the first place I went to get it, the guy did everything to convince me to get the iPhone, set up face recognition, and I didn't like that either. After my NDE, I found out that my guide set up both the pump to come with me to New York and both that guide to make sure that I got the face recognition, but I didn't know it within that moment. Anyway, it seems as if it picked him up, and the phone fell to the floor because I'm not breathing. I could hear him on the other side, and he's shouting, Nick, and I'm not, absolutely not thinking about that. For a split second, I know I had this thought to myself. I was very annoyed. I knew I was going to die, and I said, damn it, I'm going to die, and my sister and my brother-in-law is going to come here and find me naked on the floor. I was very livid. And within that space, I don't know when I left the physicality, I just knew it felt as if like everything was draining from me and I was in this whiteness. Now, I can't say it's a white room, it was just this white space. And I had the thought to myself, where am I? And as soon as I had that thought, this apparition of my grandmother, who's my mother's mom, she showed up. And as soon as she showed up and I was to think, where am I? All of a sudden, all these light orbs, like these lights within the whiteness, just started to populate. And when it did, I had this rush. I don't know how to explain this love. It was just, I take breathing so seriously now because sometimes when I do it, I almost feel it as if it's flowing through me. But it was just this rush of love that I've never felt before. However, it was very familiar. And for me, who didn't know the name of angels really, I was identifying every angel as the orbs were populating around me. It was like, oh my gosh, welcome home. And it was so amazing within that space. However, I had thoughts in my mind. And as soon as I was to think something, there was the answer. I just knew it. My grandmother was there, and I remember I focused over to the left. And when I looked over to the left, there were, now I wasn't seeing light orbs. I was seeing let's say, silhouette figures of what I identify angels as. And they were there with spirits. I knew they were with spirits. And I had this thought to myself, those are the spirits who make it to the light. And I could see the angels who were there, like there were rainbow of colors going through them. And as I had the thought, so what's that? I had this knowing, oh, that's spiritual rehab. And immediately when I started to think that, I just had this download understanding. Wow, the spirits that go to the light, what happens? The ones that go through this death process, this exit. And I also had a full understanding of what happens to the spirits that don't choose to go to the light. And it was amazing to me. I was looking at them, and then I had this focus right in front of me. And I perceived it as a huge doorway, but it didn't have a door. It was just huge, like cloud-like. But beyond it, Tammy, oh my gosh, it was just beautiful crystal city. And I could see the backdrop with the waterfalls, and it felt as if it was pulling me in, and I wanted to go so bad. And as soon as I thought about it, my grandmother was just like blocking me in front of me. And my focus changed to the right, and this angel showed up. And I just had this thought, oh my gosh, Archangel Raphael. And immediately then I'm hit with
Wow.
these moments in my life, like, oh my gosh, you were the one when I was 4 here. This time when the thing stuck in my throat, that was you. And it was like we were best friends, but within that moment, I know now that he's one of my main guides. So that's why I was having these flashback memories. That time when you went through that thing, that trauma, that was me there in that dream, that bird. I was just going back and just seeing flashes of my life. It was so amazing.
Wow.
But I was getting these downloads, but not just that. I was seeing choices that I made in the physicality. And I remember I was just going through them as if they're just moving, as if I'm in my life that I lived already, watching myself live it. But the thing is, I was watching myself and I was judging the choices that I made. And I was like, I could have smiled there. And there were things that I didn't remember as a human being that I did, but they were here. They were recorded right there, and I was watching them back. And as soon as I started to, I think maybe I was getting a little bit frustrated because I was really judging myself on things that I wish I did. Oh my gosh, why didn't you do that? Why didn't you take that subject? It was just a whole collage of stuff that I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I had done that, smiled, hugged that person, some silly stuff. And Archangel Raphael is as if he made me know that I'm going to let you focus on three things in your life. And immediately when I had that knowing, I saw this big, it's like a doorway as well, over to the right. And when I thought about it, I was inside that space. And inside that space it was like I was in this huge bee honeycomb. It was like honey pods all over. That's how it felt because everything was pulsating and it was golden and it was just magical. But then as soon as I was to think, what's that? I just had this knowing, wow, that's everybody's memory, everything everyone ever did in this lifetime. Every one of them
Wow.
represents each person. And I was like, oh my gosh. And for a minute, I don't know if I had fear, but I was like, I wasn't very quick to want to see because I was thinking every single thing, they document every single thing that we do. But anyway, this pod came out. It was so beautiful. And I just knew that's my pod. And
Wow.
it's almost like a hologram. I don't know if I should say hologram because it's not a hologram. But I don't know how to explain it in human words. But anyway, this thing just popped out and it was if I was there. So
Mhm.
the first life, now I know it's a life review, but the first scene that I saw, I was in this pretty red dress and I don't remember this red dress and I was 5 years old. My sister was getting me ready. And I remember it was interesting because I wasn't feeling how I felt. I felt how she felt. And she had this thought within herself to say, I will protect you forever. And I had this thought to myself, why are you saying that you protect me? Protect me from what? And immediately when I have that thought, I was taken to her childhood. And there was a scene in her life that happened to her when she was a child. And that night after it happened, she whispered a prayer to God. And she said, God, if I ever get a sister, I promise I'll protect her forever. Now, to anyone else, this might feel very silly. However, I'm the last one out of four kids. My sister is the first one. So we've always had this relationship, absolute love. However, she usually is the one who is almost like a mother figure to me, although she's my sister. So I always had this back and forth. Why can't you be my sister? I wish you could be more my sister and just give me a chance. Let's have some fun. But she was always the stern one. And I think that's why they brought me back to this experience for me to actually see where she was coming from. And not just that, they allowed me to feel that, listen, she's coming from a place of absolute unconditional love. And that I think was very important to me because I've always had this, you know what I mean? Why didn't I get a sister who grew 1 year older than me to just play? And it seemed silly to the human me, but then it really packed a punch. And the second life review, as soon as I was to think of that, then there was another one up, and I was in high school at this time. It was Valentine's Day, and there was this young boy there who kind of fancied me. He liked me. And he came in and he gave me a rose. Well, he was attempted to give me a rose. And I think in my silly self, I was young. I was so young then. I refused the rose. But when I was seeing this life review, I remember I had this thought, well, this is ridiculous. It's not important. I don't even remember this moment in my life. But they allowed me to feel how he felt. Yeah.
Mm.
And you have no idea. I had no idea how that one silly act could have hurt somebody so much.
Mhm.
And I was so broken and I was like, oh my God, it's the most ridiculous thing. I didn't know he was so broken. Why is he so hurt? And as soon as I was to have that thought, this most beautiful light orb just appeared. It was just there. And I had this knowing, oh my gosh, that's his soul. I think they gave me the opportunity then to, I don't know, to tell him sorry or something. Right after my ND, I have to say this now, I tried to find him. I knew exactly where he lived, but over the years, I never thought twice. And when I sought to find him, they told me he passed away years before. So within that
Wow.
moment, I think they knew that that was something that I needed to acknowledge, although I didn't know. Yeah,
Wow.
and that was really touching for me. And as soon as I was to, you know, judge myself more on that, the third life review came up, and I was probably in my 20s in Ocho Rios in Jamaica. And there was this lady at the front of the line. She was cashing in the supermarket, and there was this long line by now behind me, so I'm directly behind her. And she was there for a while, and I could observe that there were things she was trying to put stuff away, asked the girl to check, as if she was trying to figure out what's more important that I need to take with me. And I realized, oh my gosh, she doesn't have enough to pay for that bill. And I leaned
Mhm.
over and I said to the teller, I'll pay for her bill. And this lady, she turned around and she was so thankful, but I just wanted her to go because everyone behind me was so frustrated. And I had my hand like this, and she held my hand and she said, thank you. And I said, God works in mysterious ways. I'll never forget this. But my guides allowed me not to feel the handshake she gave me. They allowed me to feel that that day she exchanged something with me energetically. I had
Mhm.
no idea. And they took me almost with her, within her time space. And I was able to witness the night before she came to the supermarket. She whispered a prayer to God and she said, God, I don't know how I'm going to feed my children, but I know you'll make a way. And what the angel showed me energetically, what you just did, you helped to concrete her faith in prayer. And they went one step further. There were three kids who lived across the lane from where she lived, and they showed that the groceries that she got fed also them. And that day was so joyful for her. She has one daughter, one son, and she told them the story, and they showed me even more. They showed me the projection of one kind act, what it did, because they showed me her daughter years after when she became an adult. That story was so catalyzing for her that she started to pay it forward because of that one act. And I just had these profound downloads, and I'm just realizing, oh my gosh, everything here, the whole purpose is simply by choice, is either I choose to give love or withhold love. And I was outside of that room, and Archangel Raphael was there, my grandmother was there, and this Tammy, I'm seeing these probabilities of things that happened on this planet before, and things are happening now, and things that are to happen, and every single one of them, it's impacted by our choice collectively. And
Wow.
I couldn't understand that. I was like, no, there's more to this because I'm brought up Christian. I'm just thinking, okay, I live my own little life. I just do my own little thing. I pray. That's all I need to do. I don't need to be bothered about what happens in that country or that country or that because it's not my people, not my this. And they just gave me these downloads of these probabilities and they were showing me, yes, I saw disasters that would happen, disasters that did happen, and they would show me pockets of people who were simply wishing healing to these parts of the country. And energetically, they were showing me the change that that one act caused. And this boots on the ground, this boots on the ground. While I was there, I kept hearing it as if there were soldiers marching. And this boots on the ground concept was just concreted in me. Yeah, we're all boots on the ground for God, for universe, for whatever the name you want to call it. Because when you're on the other side, the name matters not. It's just
Mhm.
love. There's no hierarchy, or I would say silly low hierarchy. There's none of that. It's just absolute unconditional love. It's not like
Mhm.
I'm on earth and I need to follow these constructs and I'm just getting these downloads and I realize, oh my gosh, that's the secret sauce right there. I might choosing to withhold love from myself, or am I choosing to give love in every single situation? Every word that I say to myself, every person that I perceive who's also a reflection of me. And I don't know, because there's no time there. It felt as if I was there forever just getting all these information. And I started to focus again, Tammy, on this beautiful big archway. And I really wanted to go to that crystal city. It just felt as if that's where everything is. As soon as I started to focus on it, my grandmother appeared again. And she said, it's time to go. And I thought to myself, go where? And I know I would have argued with her. But before I had the chance to do, I was in this black space. And it wasn't scary. It just felt as if this is where everything started. This is where creation started. It just felt as if anything that I'm thinking, it's already created it. That's how it felt. And as soon as I was to question where I was, it felt as if I was becoming, almost as if, you're in the womb space. And it's like as if somebody took a pin and pricked the darkest dark you can think of. And this very small light came in. And as it expanded, I felt this breath and I started to feel my body again. And I could slowly start to feel my body. And the first thing that came to me was fear. I was so fearful. I was like, I'm really back in my body. And I was so disappointed. And within that breath, I didn't want to move too quickly because I wanted to keep feeling what I was feeling. And I could hear my partner still on the phone on the floor, screaming his head off, Nick, puff and swallow. And I'm not thinking about that. I just don't want to move. I don't want to move. I want to keep feeling it, feeling it. And as soon as I started to feel my body, it slowly as if it was going away and I didn't want to move. And I turned. I didn't get up. I just turned. I said, I'm going to be okay. And I had this flush of fear. Oh my gosh, was I imagining this? Was this for real? And as soon as I had that thought, it's like everything just started to flush through me. Not even to me. It just felt as if, ooh, all the cells that I lost all my life just filled me up. And I realized, oh my gosh, I just saw my grandmother. I was talking to the angels. And life isn't as terrible as we think it is. My brother-in-law was coming through the door because my partner in Jamaica called him to come get me. And he's in a panic state. And I'm still lying on the floor. Tammy, I'm naked. I have no clothes on. And I didn't care because I just realized, oh my gosh, I'm more than this physical body. And I'm saying to him, hey, I just saw grandma. I call my grandma Ty. I just saw Ty. And oh my gosh, I was sitting with the angels. And did you know there's a spiritual rehab? And he's looking at me like, you are absolutely, we're going to the hospital now. And it was just, it feels like it just happened. Because all of a sudden I could feel his fear. I was like, why are you afraid? I'm not afraid. I'm taking you to the hospital. I say, no, you're afraid. And I'm just frustrating everybody, Tommy, and they don't understand. Oh my gosh, they have no idea the unconditional love I just felt. And that ride to the hospital that day we went to Kings County, I was one with the wind, the trees. I don't know what I wasn't one with. I had the windows down and I was feeling the wind and girl, it felt so good for the first time in so many years. And I did the same thing again at the hospital. I'm trying to explain to the nurse, I'm really okay. I didn't puff the pump because he told her I had the pump and she was assessing me from the standpoint, professionally I understand and I have no judgment there. She thought I puffed the pump too many times and it affected me and I had a really bad anxiety attack. And I kept
Right.
saying to her, no, nurse, I didn't. I really listened. Nobody was listening. So they kept me for a while, observation, gave me medication for anxiety, sent me home. And the next day, and the next day, and the next couple weeks, I wouldn't stop talking about it. And I could feel
Mhm.
them getting more and more frustrated. Why won't she let this go? It's just your imagination. You got confused. And then the dream started to amplify. And I started to just simply hear my guides, not just thinking about it, just hear my grandmother in my head, hear Archangel Raphael. And one day I had this knowing, you can paint. I was like, no, I can't. And I sat on my laptop that day and I went on Michael's and I ordered everything for paint, canvas, everything. And when it came, I was like, I don't know what to do. And I heard the voice, just put the brush in the color and paint a new canvas. And I started to paint, and I'm painting and I'm painting. I'm like, oh my gosh, I never knew I painted this. I, I'm just
Wow,
painting and
it's
painting. I'm like,
beautiful.
that's Gaia. And I paint the first time I connected with Gaia. Gaia, which is the earth, she kind of showed her essence as if she was this beautiful woman, but in black and white. And from her, you could see everything from creation that started to color around her, just coming from this
Yeah.
beautiful golden light. And everything just started to amplify. I'm getting these dreams and I'm getting these downloads. And coming from an NDE is exciting because now you know you're more. The challenge is,
Mhm.
Tammy, fitting in with everyone else who thinks you're absolute nuts. And that was a real challenge for me.
That's
That was
me.
something. Yeah, because you just know what you know, and it's beyond a reasonable doubt. And I know within the Christian faith they say the living has nothing to do with the dead, but come on, I'm having conversations with my grandmother, and she's reminding me
Mhm.
about every other moment before my NDE where she saved my father's life, she saved my mother's life, she saved my life. Those are
Mhm.
tangible physical proof. And I'm like, I know beyond a reasonable doubt, but why don't you love yourself enough? And people are getting really upset with me. Why are you so stressed out? Don't you understand the reason why you didn't get the job was because it was going to completely deplete you? And people are getting more and more upset with me. I'm like, life really isn't like that. It's orchestrated for you. Just become
Mhm.
one with your breath. Just love on yourself some more and just simply say, God, what's next? What can I do today to be boots on the ground for God? What can I do today to be kind to me by not
Mhm.
choosing to settle, by not choosing to do things that really isn't good for my soul, that I feel depleted at the end of the day, by just choosing to be true to yourself? Every day we wake up, oh, I want to know my purpose. You can't know your purpose if all you're thinking about is the identity structure that somebody, something else placed there that doesn't resonate with you. And
Mhm.
we say we're confused and we don't know this, but when is the last time you actually just settled yourself and asked your heart, what gives me peace? What gives me peace today? Not even tomorrow, Tammy. Right now.
Mhm.
What gives me peace right now? And it could be just lying in a nice tub of water and just breathe. It could be taking a walk. It could be writing. It could be writing a note to yourself. It could be calling somebody you haven't heard about in a long time. It could be actually just smiling, just one smile. Because what the angels show is energetically, every time we choose something like that, that is within the light, it's so infectious. It spreads like wildfire. And every time we lie in a thought to say, oh my gosh, it's hard, I can't, I don't know, I don't deserve, the cells in your body literally start to die off. They don't know what to do with you because you're trapping an energy within your being, which also mirrors our planet, that says we really don't deserve. Do you
Mhm.
understand? It's
Mhm.
crazy how simple it sounds. And I know we've brought up our a whole life saying we must struggle to make it, but our guides say, why do you need to struggle to make it? Why is it that your ancestors, yes, they struggled? Why is it that you believe that when you hear their stories, you also deserve to struggle? That was for
Mhm.
you to witness and for you to acknowledge that they did that in order for you not to. Why do you press replay in your life going back to where trauma was and pain was and hurt was? You miss where you overcame that. And instead, you
Mhm.
keep making the same choices. And then you say life is unfair. Well, because you expect it to be. Because you don't give yourself the joy and the opportunity to step outside your door and just feel the abundance of the sun on your skin or the wind on your being or the flower that you planted that just started to bloom, the butterfly that's on it that's showing you how much of an abundance God represents. Instead, we try to contain the aspect of what we say God is in a box and say, I own God, only me. And if you do what I do, then you deserve love. It doesn't go like that. It never did. And that is the main thing that we forgot.
Wow. That was an unbelievable, powerful message. You have no idea every single time I hear you speak it. And I told you I watched your videos 5 times.
Yeah.
And it's just so powerful. It touches me in every piece of being that is inside me.
Mm.
And I've tasted that. I've been there and I have tasted that. And I've found myself here futuristically, I guess, where I'm at
Yeah.
now,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm not I'm not tapping into that the way that I should. And I think that's why it it has touched me so much every time I hear you tell your story. It touches me so much because I've tasted that. I've touched that. I've I've full body embraced, felt
Ooh.
it and know
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And
It's a
and
soul call, Tammy. It's a reminder. It's
mhm,
a soul call that will nag you until you look in the mirror and accept, wow, she is a mirror
mhm,
of me. She's not better than me. I actually know what
mhm,
she knows. And it's time for me to literally just, as simple as this, Tammy, just love on you without the constructs
mhm,
of anything that's been written anywhere and understand, listen, I
mhm,
deserve for my voice also to be heard on this realm. Because we're
mhm,
equally yoked as feminine and masculine. I didn't know that. I didn't know every woman, every man equally yoked. Within me
mhm,
is equally masculine and feminine.
mhm,
However, we've been taught that if you cry, you're weak, or a woman is weak when she speaks her voice, or she's too this, or she's too that, and also a man who nurtures that capability within them. And this is why
mhm,
we're so imbalanced in this realm because we don't allow ourselves to be equally yoked. So we live every day, every single day of our life, looking outside of ourselves for this unconditional love that really is here.
mhm,
This is where it starts. And
mhm,
when you acknowledge that, you reciprocate that which you are. You mirror
mhm,
me. I am mirroring you and millions who probably will look in the mirror tonight and say, you know what? I really do deserve. Enough is enough. I
mhm,
need to live and straighten my back and be in my truth and my power now. Because at the end of the day, for me, I do not plan to go back through this death process and watch myself on the other side choosing to withhold love from myself or anyone else. It does not feel good. It does
yes.
not feel good. That's the main reason why
Mhm,
unapologetically I just do what I do now because I know what it feels like. Hello. It does not
mhm,
feel good. And I've realized that choosing to give love to myself really is so much easier than trying to follow the confines of anything else that was ever done.
mhm.
So I do it
I'm
without
with you
apology.
100%. Yes.
Yeah.
And I left the world and the things of this world almost 10 years ago. And I
Mm,
travel full time in an RV.
mm-hmm.
And I found peace for the first time ever in my life when I left the world. That's my only way to describe it is I left the world and the things of this world and I surrendered my life over and I said, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'll say
Yeah.
whatever you want me to say and I'll
Mm-hmm.
go wherever you want me to go. And that's how I ended up on this journey and just
Beautiful.
learning everything that I know now just in the last 10 years. And but I've always been
Beautiful.
connected to the other side. I was just
Right.
trying to have one foot in the world and one foot in the spiritual, I guess.
You said it exactly. So let me
Mhm.
explain to you how the angels explained that to me. I got a pretty
Mhm.
serious lesson on this before after my NDE. And I remember when I was there, I had this memory of
Mhm.
people who are on this planet who are advanced souls. And I never understood, what do you mean an advanced soul? And the
Mhm.
first aspect of an advanced soul I got to witness was a child on the spectrum in
Mhm.
this park. And when I had this visual of this child in this park, and he was communicating with the trees and everything, and I found it very
Mhm.
interesting. However, the angel said to me is, these are advanced souls who choose to carnate on this planet at this time. They choose their families, their aspects of their lives, no matter how it goes, because they choose to show us in this world how many ways unconditional love can be given. Because
Mhm.
somebody who is identified or catalyzed or diagnosed as this way, the angels say they don't need to be diagnosed. They did not
Mhm.
come here to be fixed. They came here to teach you. And within that moment, they took me to a memory that I did not remember, Tammy.
Mhm.
Years ago, there was this mother and her children in the park, and I never forget there was a group there also with, they take groups out, especially here in the States, with people who they classify as disabled or on the spectrum. And I am an empath. I always said I was an empath. So I was looking at them and smiling because I love observing. However, the guide showed me that, but within your mind, you did say to yourself, oh, I'm so happy I'm not that mother. Energetically,
Mhm.
they showed me what that did, and they showed me how those children received that energy that day. And it absolutely
Mm.
broke me because I did not understand. They said they did not come here for you to judge. Don't you understand the unconditional love they come to show you? And they went on to say, because the constructs of what you call normal is somebody who you can love or who fits in is a person who walks upright with two fingers, with two hands and 2 feet, who walk upright normal and speak. They said, don't you know love has no language? It is a
Mhm.
frequency, something that you feel. These children, these beings, these human who choose to be in your planet for you to observe the love that Source has to give, that's uncontainable. You tend not to notice it. Instead, you tend try to identify them and find them in lack. They are more
Mhm.
advanced than you. They feel beyond words. And no matter what you can do to them, all they remember to do is give of you unconditionality. That
Mhm.
tore me up, Tammy, because I really have never thought to myself as if I judged, but I did. And then they allowed me to understand how that judgment affected everyone else around me, especially the ones I was judging.
Mhm.
So you see how this world is turned upside down? Everything that we
Mhm.
express, experience are lessons. And instead, we call it something else because we want to identify it and we want to prescribe something for it or we want to diagnose it. When really in front of our eyes is something teaching us, wow, you're trying to get to what you call a God construct. God has always been around you, waiting for you to observe, waiting for you to choose to be kind to the aspect of God that's standing in front of you. I've
Wow.
never looked on it like that. But that's how an angel explains to you. We keep waiting to go to God. Oh, I'm just going to fix myself and I just want to be in my own outright self. I don't care about him, or him, because I'm waiting for God to come. And God has been there waiting for you to notice the love that He's given here and there and in front of you that you chose not to observe.
Mhm.
That's powerful.
That is powerful.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that is powerful. Wow. So I wanted to ask you a couple questions, okay? When you saw Archangel, which one was it?
Raphael?
Raphael. Yes.
Mhm.
How did you know that it was him?
That was pretty interesting. I just knew. Now, before my NDE, I've never seen a picture of Archangel Raphael. But on the other side, Tammy, you just know. It was amazing. I just identified this being who was there, and I just knew it was Archangel Raphael. And the essence comes with a particular imprint that I just knew it was him. As much as Archangel Michael, when I do have a connection with his essence, it's also different.
Mhm.
Because when he comes, he allows me to feel an impression from the crown of my head to my spine.
Mhm.
Archangel Raphael comes almost as if it has me in a whirlwind. But while I was there, I was identifying other angels that I never knew existed. Azrael, Uriel, and as the orbs are going up, I'm identifying them that my human construct couldn't have. And I
Mhm.
still find that interesting because I don't know how. I just knew
Mhm.
on a spirit level all of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now when you went through your experience and you obviously crossed over to the other side, that's what I call it, the other side.
Yeah, that's
um,
okay.
do you know how long you were there? Like do you know how much time had went by while you were out?
I don't know, but my hubby was on the phone, and from the phone call that was there, it was maybe about less than 4 minutes.
Wow.
between
And you
between the time
experienced
that I was
all of
talking to
that.
him to the time that I went out. So I was probably
Mhm.
out for less than 3 minutes. I wasn't out for long. However, there it felt like I was there for a very long time. Had
Right,
no clue.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that is just beautiful. And your
Hmm.
grandma, you saw her crystal clear. She was like, you
Crystal
knew
clear
right
at
away.
her. There's this image of her I always liked when we used to visit her as a child. That was the
Hmm.
visual of her that I saw. I didn't see her as the older woman. I saw her as that picture, as that younger version of herself. And
Hmm.
that's how I tend to
Okay.
see her in dreams. Yeah.
Hmm. And
Hmm.
so I just want to say that when I had my experience,
Hmm.
I couldn't keep my mouth shut either.
You want
I
everyone to
don't know.
know. Hmm.
Yeah. I don't know how anybody is able to just keep their mouth shut because I
Hmm.
knew, just like you say, I know that I know. That's my
Yeah.
famous word. I use that word all the time. It's my famous word of you know that you
It's
know.
true. It's
And
true,
so,
Tammy.
and for me, I just assumed that all I had to do was speak out the words of my
Yeah.
experience.
Hmm.
And I thought it would be automatically they would feel it, taste it, touch it, and
Me
have the
too.
same experience.
Me too. Yeah.
And
I
that's
used to
just
walk
not true.
around in probably the first 3 months. I used to just
Hmm.
see people. I could see the energy draining from them, which was kind of weird. And I would just walk up and hug them. And my sister got so fearful. She said, "You can't do that anymore." Because that's what I thought if I just touch them. But then my guides taught me you don't have to touch your energy, and so are they. You can simply look at
Hmm.
them, smile, or just wish them healing and love. So after about the 3rd month period, I stopped wanting to hug everybody because I wanted to touch them to say, "Feel what I feel." I want them to feel. I want you to know that
Hmm.
you're gonna be okay. It didn't
Hmm.
work because people thought I was weird.
Hmm. So is it safe to say that you don't believe probably in a hell?
Oh no, there is an aspect of light and darkness. There's nothing we can do to get rid of that. What I have learned is if it's something that you're focusing on, or if there's a folklore or a memory or a belief system that you hold on to that's so true to you, you will have this experience of hell. There are people who
Hmm.
will have this experience of hell because what you focus on is exactly what you are going to experience. Why? Because anything that you want to experience, you're going to experience without a reasonable doubt.
Hmm.
Do you understand? So if I
Yeah,
was
so
somebody
with
who
that,
was focused on that, my NDE probably would have been something that's going to reflect to me something exactly what I believe. Because when I come out, I
right.
know exactly that's what I had, because that's what I believe, and that's what the devil looks like, and all these things. So there is
Hmm.
darkness and light. But my guides have shown me that you have to understand that there always will be that aspect of darkness and light. But if you're not focused on it, if you are not within that space, that realm, that thought construct of fear, darkness really is not interested to go where light is. If you remain within your own light, owning
Wow,
your truth and your
powerful.
power. Darkness has
Hmm.
has no interest. However, if you find yourself in the state where you're so depressed and you don't believe you deserve, you lower your frequency enough, of course, where you mirror yourself to where darkness is. And darkness will multiply upon what you are experiencing and expecting to experience. So I don't
Hmm.
allow myself to ever go out thinking, oh my God, I know it's going to be a bad day. Because it's what you're going to experience. You
Hmm.
always have to remain within your light. Because if you
Hmm.
don't, you end up shrinking that which you are. Because you're looking
Hmm.
outside of yourself for proof of something you believe in your mind.
Hmm.
So there is no choice of saying, oh, I'm going to just live only in the light. There is simply a choice of living in balance. Do I choose to
Hmm.
give love today? Because when I choose to do that, be kind, I am remaining in my light. Do I choose to be unkind, malicious? Do I choose to be greedy, to be mean? You will have aspects of experience darkness. It's you
Mm-hmm.
choosing. Am I going to remain in balance or not?
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Wow, that's powerful.
mm.
Yeah, that's what a great message. And I knew I know that I had one more question for you, but I can't get it to come to my head, so it must not be
It's
meant to
okay.
ask. So why don't we go ahead and wrap this up?
Mm,
And I'm gonna end the video with my outro, and then at the end we'll do a farewell from there.
yeah.
And thank
Okay.
you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Your words of encouragement mean a lot, not just to me, but especially to the guests who come on and share their deeply personal experiences. These are real people and they do read your comments. The best way to support the channel is like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, stay curious and stay conscious. Thank you so much, Nick.
Thank you.
Message is an extremely powerful message, and I cannot wait for the audience to receive your message too.
Awesome
Have a good
sauce. Thank
night.
you so much.